for artists that want to follow a realistic style, I don't know that you necessarily have to overthink about an influence like me or any other painter who does realism. You can certainly get a lot from the pieces that we've done, maybe even imitate some of those compositions, but I think you'll find your own way once you're just studying reality, which is what I would do. I mean, if I'm going to look at people, things, photographs, it's beneficial to start shooting your own if you can get into that. And these days, since everybody's got a camera, that's not so much of an issue anymore. Being able to study life as the basis for something is the best. I had the longest problem of thinking I needed to have everybody and every element be perfect before I could use it as a reference source. And so it took me a long time to realize how flexible the basis of the human form is. I've posed for myself on loads of paintings where now I guess I'm called out by some people online. It's a process of getting your mind comfortable with what you're building off of. And at a certain point, I would say accept that you're going to feel like you're not seeing it until you've seen it. You know, that maybe you do need to have a thing look like a thing exactly before you're painting from it.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Hi, everybody. We're back. It's time again for Word Balloon Live, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Really happy to welcome Amy Chu to the show. Amy, it's great to see you, and thank you very much for doing this.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to finally do this with you.
I know we've talked before about it in principle and stuff, so no, I'm glad we're finally getting together. And yeah, there's a ton of comic books to talk about, but also debuting today. Was it today or yesterday that it dropped?
Was actually yesterday.
Here we go. It's the new Netflix anime, DOTA, Dragon's Blood, or is it DOTA, Dragon's Blood? I don't even know.
It's DOTA.
It is DOTA. You know,
Defense of the Ancients.
Okay, and honestly, Amy, I really enjoyed. I watched several episodes today.
Oh,
and congratulations! How many did you write?
Oh, so let's see. How do I say this? Because I don't want Netflix people jumping on me. I wrote one episode in this season.
Cool.
All
right, that's a good. Ooh, I like that. All right, very good, and that's good to hear. And it sounds like we got more coming up, so that's wonderful. I am not a gamer, I will admit that. However, I do appreciate good anime, and I love a good, kind of elfin, knights, dragons kind of story. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed book one very much.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Definitely. How did you get this opportunity?
Oh, you really want to know the whole story?
Please.
It's actually crazy. It's directly related to Red Sonja, so we can tie.
Oh, great!
Yeah, comics with my new TV gig, I guess.
That's great.
Yeah, it's as simple as this. I mean, and frankly, I actually didn't even realize it was happening because at a certain point you're like, I've always been a comics person. It's not like I was like, hey, let me use this as a stepping stone kind of thing, It's
sure.
Not, but the truth of the matter is, I got this because of my Red Sonja run. It's as simple as this. The showrunner really liked what I did with Red Sonja.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. What's even crazier is that he reached out to me on Twitter.
Oh, that's
and
great.
I was like, who is this person?
Is that Ashley Miller?
Yeah.
Okay, because honestly, I hear him all the time on his Star Trek podcast. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you know it. Oh my God, I love that show, and I'm a fan of Mark Altman's. I loved Free Enterprise, the movie he made, and Robert Burnett is a friend of mine, the co-collaborator on Free Enterprise, and that's when I started listening. And yeah, I didn't know about Ashley, and I think it's awesome. I noticed on the trailer for the series that they say from the writer of Thor and X-Men First Class. And it's like, oh, that's how Mark always bills him on Inglorious Treasures. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Ashley Miller's involved in this. So yeah. So tell me, conversations with him, conference. Obviously, I don't want anything that crosses an NDA, but how was it collaborating?
I think I can tell you the origin story. Yeah, it was I think it was a couple of tweets where he said something like, I think he just really liked what I did with Red Sonja, and I'm kind of like, oh, cool, because you get, I don't feel like you get a lot of random tweets, but fast forward to San Diego Comic-Con, I believe he was kind of like, he sent me something like, oh, let's talk, Okay. It's always kind of like, oh,
yeah, I understand. No, I get it. Sure.
Right. But San Diego, but then I was like, it turns out, I don't know if you remember the Benson sisters who did.
Of course. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm always in contact with Julie and Shauna, definitely.
Shauna, it turns out, used to be his assistant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
oh, that's crazy.
Small world. This is all coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's just the way he is. He's totally cool, and so that's basically San Diego. As one does, right? There's so much going on, and then we get together. And when I say we get together, it's like we get together with the entire comics world, and we're having, I think it was drinks at.
We at the Hyatt.
No, it wasn't the Hyatt. It was the Marriott. I know. It's like,
oh, okay, yeah. No. It's always either Hilton, Marriott, or Hyatt. So no, I get it.
But that's when somebody's not in the comics world. It's like, I would have been like, oh, let's go to the Hyatt. He's like, let's go to the Marriott. No, and we're like having this discussion, and I think it was. And again, this is the difference between comics and TV, right? I was like, oh, I'm really sorry, but I gotta go. I'm having dinner with and it might have been with Shauna and Julie, but a whole bunch of people, right? And I'm like, yeah, I have dinner. He's like, that's fine. Just bring them along, And so then he paid for everybody. So now you're not in comics anymore. It wasn't Burger King. It was like a really nice restaurant, and so that's kind of how we sort of connected. And hi, Maria Laura. It's like nice. More people are coming because I feel like it's Friday night. We should chill. We should talk about stuff. We should talk like how random is it that we live in such a small world that we had a fabulous dinner, and I forget exactly because I'm starting to have this like old person brain thing going on.
I'm well ahead of you, buddy, but all right, fair enough. I understand.
So, somewhere along the line, it wasn't even about his show yet. It wasn't about DOTA. He just wanted to talk shop and craft and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, cool, because I don't know many TV people. I know comics people, but he's like talking about all this stuff, and also, I mean, come on, X-Men First Class Thor. I'm like, I want to learn. I want to learn from this.
100%. Yeah.
And then, and nothing happened from that, by the way. It was just like, cool, made the connection. It wasn't like I thought anything would come of it other than, yeah, sure, pick my brain about Red Sonja, we'll talk craft. And then fast forward, and I forget exactly. I think, I remember now. I was visiting the DC offices, right? And since I'm there, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm in town. He's like, oh, let's have dinner. But I think I was with one of the editors at that time. Was it Ben Abernathy? No, it was Jim Chadwick from DC.
Okay, oh, I love Jim. Jim's a great guy.
Jim's awesome. And I'm like, can I bring Jim along?
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I figured the more the merrier, right? And I think it was here that we're all having this fantastic dinner, and at I can't remember the restaurant. It's one of these Hollywood places, right? And then and Ashley, if you know Ash, he talks a mile a minute. He's very passionate. If you follow Boris Trexperts, he's always got like, and so he's talking. And it's like, after a while, I'm like, okay, cool. Because I'm generally, a little bit more low key. And then I think at some point after, and we had just a wonderful dinner, and Jim was kind of like, I think he offered you a job, And I'm like, what?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, because it didn't even occur to me that that would even be in the making, right? Because what he was really talking about, which I realize now, he was talking about DOTA and how he's doing this new thing and about the writer's room and how he's got to put together the writer's room. And I didn't know what a writer's room was about, right? Because in comics, I am the writer's room. It's just,
Yeah.
that's it. I don't know what a writer's room is. And, if you know anything about TV or, it's a group of people where you're literally in a writer's room. And so I didn't realize that he was actually offering me a job,
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Go on.
that's how it happened.
Okay. And and obviously, I mean, it takes forever to, produce something, especially animation. So how long from you being in the right, like, I'm assuming, did you go to LA? Did you do it virtually? How did you do it?
This is the funny part. So I honestly didn't know what a writer's room really was, but the commitment for a writer's room is literally, you need to be in LA. You need to be there for the full work week.
Sure.
And so when I got back to him, I said, yeah, of course I'm interested. He's like, oh, sorry, I gave your spot away already.
Oh.
This is how Hollywood works, right?
Wow. Yeah, no, I do know.
Because
I hear you, buddy. Yeah.
I did not respond immediately. In comics, we're kind of like, oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, let's do this. And so he gave my spot away already. And I'm like, oh my God, there goes like my one shot. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, but he was like, oh, but don't worry, we have a little bit of money left. If you want, I'll bring you in as a freelancer. And so that actually worked out better, right?
Okay. Oh, wow.
I didn't have to move to LA. I'm just what I basically said, yeah, I'll come in for a week, whatever you need me, I'll come in, I'll fly in. And so that was my introduction, is like sort of coming in sideways, so that's kind of how it happened. So what that means, though, is I can talk about it, but I cannot take credit, for, like I came in, I helped out, I wrote one episode, but the rest of the writers, I mean, they did the full 8, I just kind of came in and did my little bits here and there.
Okay. So do you get a WGA credit or no?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Excellent. Are
you WGA writer now?
Slightly off topic? Are you enjoying your screeners and everything? Your movie screeners?
Yeah. Again, I didn't know. I'm like such a doofus. Like, I didn't know it came with all this stuff. And next thing I know, I'm getting all these screeners. I'm getting it's just like, wow. Okay.
I'm in the Radio and Television Union merged with the Screen Actors Guild years ago.
Yeah.
And I had never had a radio job where you had to be part of the union until about 4 years ago. And so I'm a member, and SAG doesn't get as many screeners as the WAGs and the Directors Guild do and everything. So I mean, it's like I have news writer friends who are in the Writers Guild because of the merger. And it's like, oh yeah, we got like, they get like 3 times. You guys get like 3 times the DVDs that we get and everything. No complaints. I love what we get, and it's amazing. And you do feel very important. And of course, voting for the awards is hilarious.
I do feel
That's awesome. Anyway, that's great. And I enjoyed it. I've never played the game. Had you played the game before getting involved?
I have to admit, I tried, but it's one of those that I think one needs to be a little younger. Like it's a little bit terrifying doing these. Like I know you think I'm younger than I actually am. Okay, but I come from a Zork generation. Okay? In like the last.
How often do we hear that? That's fantastic. Go on.
The last like shoot 'em up kind of thing I played, like I'll play Portal. I'll play nice sort of calming games, things like that, like Pikmin maybe. Okay, but the last thing, like House of the Dead, was my thing. Okay.
Oh, I remember that. Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. But this DOTA, I tried, and I was like, I can't do it. I suck. I suck so bad. I can't do it.
I can't. The modern whatever handheld control. I can't do it. And it's so funny. Chris Iliopoulos and I have always said, like, they should have like an annex course at like community colleges for older people that want to game, and we can like really sit down and learn how to do it, because honestly, far too many buttons. I mean, I'm I'm a Nintendo, late 80s, early 90s guy and stuff. And also I did play PC games and even bought a joystick that is kind of a typical arcade sort of joystick. And the thing for me was, and I'm sure as a creative person, you might feel this way as well, it's such a time suck. You have no idea. You get so wrapped up in the game, and it's like, what do you mean it's been 3 hours? I don't have 3 hours to waste. So literally, like, oh my God, thinking about it now, 1998. So 23 years. It's been 23 years since I gamed because I'm like, I don't have time for this. I got too many things I want to do. And, I want to make the donuts. I don't want to,
Absolutely.
So no, but that's great, and I'm really glad to hear then that the potential is there that we may, without confirming or denying, that we might be seeing more work from you, and that's terrific. I think that's great. How was it doing the transition from writing comic strips to animation?
Okay. I'm getting a little feedback. Am I doing something wrong?
Am I not coming through? Or are you,
No. I'm getting a little echo. Is there something I'm supposed to do to fix that? Maybe
that might, something. I have an external speaker, so if you're hearing me echoing, I'm going to turn it down and also replace it with earbuds in a second.
Okay. I also have earbuds if I need to do that.
Are you still hearing the echo now?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're good.
I got my earbuds, so please continue.
So it's it was easy and not so easy. It was easy and not so easy. I have to say, if I didn't have all that comics experience behind me, I think it would have been very tough. As it was easy, but it was harder than I thought, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because it's one thing, and hey, Kenny, it's one thing to sort of, I think it's a great training ground, but it is different, because what you're doing is you're going essentially from like writing haiku, which is already really difficult, to suddenly saying, oh, you know what? Now you can write prose. So like all of a sudden now I've got sound, I've got motion, I've got all these things I didn't have before. So, which is cool. But now I've got a bigger toolbox to work with. I'm like, oh my God, it's almost too much.
That's interesting, because you would think that given the lack of a need for a budget, that comics would be more infinite in terms of what you can do. And maybe it is still from a different standpoint, but that's interesting to hear. Has your experience led you to now? Are you writing specs? Are you pitching other writing gigs for TV or film?
Oh, again.
Oh no! All right, that's a good answer right there. That's fine. I think you answered my question.
This, I've been sort of talking with Karen Berger about something for a while.
Hey, that's great.
Okay, so I can say no more, but yeah.
All right. That's terrific. Fantastic. I love Karen. She's amazing.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
All the entire generation of Vertigo, I really, from Axel to Will Dennis to Shelley Bond and Joan Hilty, all these people. I mean, and certainly Karen on top and everything. My God. I only get to talk to Karen. It's driving me nuts. I keep meaning now that she's, been doing Dark Horse stuff and everything. I'm like, talking to the Dark Horse people. I'm like, get Karen to sit down, because I've only talked to her once at New York for like 10 minutes.
Really?
It's the only opportunity I got to interview her. But she was great, and I totally just like gushed. And I'm like, you are amazing, and everything you did at Vertigo will stand the test of time.
Right? Like all credit to her,
No, that's terrific that you're working with her. So, Handsome Cobra, interesting name. I saw Dota Dragon's Blood, and I thought it was fantastic. I've never played Dota 2, but the anime was great. Completely agree. The anime is fantastic, and it's a great story, too.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Listen, I'm going to put my earbuds on just in case.
Sure, buddy. No, take your time. We're cool. Yeah, excellent.
Because I got these cool things.
Do you have the wireless ones?
Yeah.
I'm afraid to get them. I'm sure they pop out of my ears.
Right.
They're so gigantic.
Is this working?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I mean, I can still hear you fine.
Yeah, I can hear you fine too. Oh, like technology, I feel like such a dinosaur. It's like, ooh, no cords.
Hey, I didn't start doing video until the pandemic hit and everything. How did COVID affect your year in terms of writing and stuff, or getting assignments or whatever?
Okay, I feel guilty because in some ways it's not a huge difference because I work from home anyway. It's just me and my laptop. The difference was I couldn't go to my favorite coffee place,
Yep.
but I'm home. But then, of course, the difference is all of a sudden everyone's home with me, the kids and everything. And also, I mean, for sure, I had projects that were either canceled or put on the back burner. But that stuff happens anyway.
Sure.
So I had a surprisingly productive year, just because. And then some stuff got pushed back, but all of a sudden they came to life. So now I'm kind of like in a weird, crazy mode because everything got delayed, and now it's like, oh, okay, it's back to life. Like a zombie.
I understand. So you have children?
I have 2 kids. Yes.
Oh, that's great. How old are they?
I have a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Wow, that's fantastic, man. All right, so like, are they into comics? Are they, or anime or any of the nerd stuff?
If you ask them that question, they'll say no. But they were like reading this stuff. I think it's partly because I do what I do and they grew up with me on it, that they just, I really think that they think all moms do this.
That's
so they're
amazing.
not really into comics. It's just mom's thing that they're reading.
So, and going back to what you said earlier, Amy, I would have never guessed that you have 2 teenagers. So that's fantastic.
I do.
Good for you.
I do.
Good for you. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Boy, I bet, and I'm sure it's been a weird year for them. Maybe it's a little easier for the 17-year-old, although I don't know. I mean, I as far as school the last year, I'm sure it was
I
rough.
think it's actually easier for the 13-year-old, but it's personality. He doesn't really draw a distinction between physically hanging out with friends and playing Minecraft with them. It's just like all the same.
Okay.
Yeah, my 17-year-old I think is a little different because he's very he wants to be a writer. He's very productive, and he's old enough to know a lot of things are going on. So, the 13-year-old's like, cool, I'm at home and I'm playing Minecraft. I'm like, you're not supposed to be playing Minecraft during school.
That's great for the 17-year-old. So I would imagine with your circle of friends, that's a wonderful opportunity for him to learn from writers and stuff. And,
well, maybe. I think he's at higher intellectual plane, perhaps, than mainstream comics. I don't know.
Okay, but I mean, that's interesting because honestly, I would think that the great thing is, as people that grew up with comics as we did, that I really appreciate the fact that we've got adults writing this stuff, and obviously there are varying degrees of writer excellence, but it just seems like there are more really talented writers that are doing comics and storytelling in a really at a high level.
At a very high level, I think we're at an all-time high. Honestly, I mean, you can whatever you want, you can get. I mean, there's just so much good writing. There's so much good art. I'm being a little facetious. My son, he's got some. He's helped me a lot. Actually, he's. Sometimes I need that. You need somebody to like. Go over your scripts, like I've gotten a little bit too crazy now because, we're on a deadline, just like a journalist, right? So then I just throw it at him. I say, can you proof this? Because I really need to switch over to this DC story or whatever. And so he's been really, really good about that. But I think he views it differently. Like, I think he wants to be a prose writer, maybe.
Cool. That's great. That's amazing. Here's a question from YouTube. Joshua wants to know, what was it like working with Studio Mir?
Oh my gosh. First of all, it was awesome, but I'm not even sure what it was like because I'm such in the periphery of this, So I think Eugene Lee, who's I forgot his exact title. He's in the writer's room, but he's like the animation guy. I think he did most of the interface along with Ash. And maybe Steve. So I'm just kind of enjoying. I mean, I'm seeing the stuff coming in. So, if I were a fangirl, like I'd be like, oh my God, I'm seeing this for the first time, which is super cool. I think they were super cool, basically, but I wasn't in that relationship so much.
Understood. No, that's cool. Like I said, I just, what I saw 4 episodes. And I really enjoyed what I watched. I'm looking forward to watching the other 4. And,
I'm looking forward to watching it too because all I've seen are the animatics.
Wow, I know. I can't believe that. You were saying that before we were recording that you haven't had a chance to watch
Yeah,
yet.
because I have to carve out the time, and it was only live just yesterday, and
Sure.
I just turned in something to DC this morning. So I've been like, you know, like I literally have to sit down, and I just haven't had the chance. And part of it too is I have seen the animatics, so it's kind of like, but there's a big difference between seeing that and the finished version, because I also didn't get the whole soundtrack, and so I was able to get the first 2 episodes in yesterday before I had to go back to work. So I haven't even gotten to my episode, but I'm like, oh my gosh, it is a world of difference. Like I feel like I suddenly I feel like the enormity of the world is like, oh my god, we were part of this something special,
No, I understand. Absolutely. All right. So you mentioned DC, and obviously I know about your previous work. Are you able to say what you're currently working on? Forgive me.
Oh, wait, let me think. Yes, I can, because I know DC announced it. DC did announce it. I don't think they announced exactly what I was working on, but it is for the a special anthology for May, which is Asian American Pacific Heritage Month.
Yes, I've heard about this. Please.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. First of all, because I never get to do this, right? And so few of us are able to do this. And kudos to Jessica Chen, who's the editor who decided.
Wonderful.
Like, do
Yeah.
this thing, right. And so just about everyone I know who's, Asian American, I think hopefully is involved in this. I can tell you that the art for my story is Marcio Takara.
Wonderful.
Marcio.
Yes.
And I literally just saw the last page this morning, and it's just amazing. Like he took it to another level, and I'm just so pleased. So I basically did the lettering script this morning and sent it off. So hopefully they like it. But I think people will really enjoy the story. It's only 10 pages, but I feel very proud of it.
Hey, honestly, I've really enjoyed these anthologies, and honestly, all of you, because I know you did the Wonder Woman 80th anniversary and stuff. I think everyone is really killing it on these 10-page stories. And even though they are shorter than the regular size comic, it's half the size. I think you guys pack a lot of story in those 10 pages. I think it's a very effective format that you've all, are telling great stories. So no, I'm totally cool with that. And really, it's great that they're doing this, because it's easy to rattle off a few DC Asian characters, but to really have a chance in an 80-page China, I look forward to seeing who's getting, no problem, who's getting the who's getting the treatment and everything in the thing. I mean, I don't know. Again, it could be Lady Shiva, it could be Katana, it could be just
I
for
think
me
I
to
can say. Can I say?
I'd love to say. Please, I'd love for you to say.
It's Katana, but with,
Awesome. Great.
So you're getting this. You're getting this scoop. It's Katana with Cyborg and Blue Beetle.
Hey, that's great. That's fun. That's wonderful, man.
So I'm going to try to do this since I'm sort of mobile, because I need a glass of water. So just bear with me, because this is my friend's place.
Sure. No problem. Yeah, if you need to get better situated.
I don't know where all her stuff is, so we can talk. Okay. I'm just trying to get a glass of water.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by all means. Oh, Amy, of course. I have mine. I have mine sitting next to me, so I do understand. No, honestly, this is great. Well, here, while you're getting situated and getting towards the water, Isham has asked a question.
Oh, sure.
Okay. This may sound like a question out of left field, but in your Poison Ivy miniseries, was the Detective O'Shea character a tribute to the late great comic blogger, journalist Tim O'Shea?
Yes. Thank you for noticing. I really tried, and nobody picked up on that.
Well, there you go. Isham did. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you so much for noticing that. It absolutely was. And, I'm so glad that somebody actually noticed that now.
That's cool. Did you know Tim personally?
Well, what do you mean personally? I think it was just, in the stratosphere.
Sure.
And he was such a good guy, and it was just like, what else can I do, right?
That's awesome. No, I never met him, so I didn't. I wasn't aware of his work. What was the name?
I'm in a kitchen that I don't really know, and I don't.
Oh, that's okay.
What are we doing? Where the heck does she keep all her stuff? I don't know. Like, so you're in this with me. Just bear with me.
No, I like it. I think it's funny. If anything, I should single your camera so we can really get the full effect. I'm not going to do that to you. Don't worry.
I don't understand where where did she put all her stuff? She must have.
Is she not there? Is she not there? You
She's
can
on a
yell
call
at
too. She's on a call.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
I think she's not on as fun of a call.
That's cool. Well,
But, she's got an icy machine. That's so bizarre, right? I don't know if you can see that. There's an icy machine.
oh my God, that's awesome.
I know,
Holy
right? I
cow.
kind of want to make myself an icy, but
I don't blame you. My goodness, that's fantastic. Jeez. Does she have kids? That's got to be amazing.
Her kids are grown. Her kids are in college, so.
Oh, wow. Hey, Isham follows up and says, I knew Tim online from when we blogged for Alex Segura's Great Curve. Oh, that's crazy, Isham. I didn't know you wrote for him. I should know that, actually. I should know that. I see. Isham always chimes in a lot on the show.
Oh, really?
And I think I recognize your byline the more you say that, Isham. So, the Legends of the Series by Clay Manners. And he says,
Clay, I asked Clay to do it, and he was such a sport. He doesn't really say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that,
That's great. That's great. Now, Clay's been on. We've been talking and stuff. No, that Ivy series was really great. And Clay's one of the perfect artists to draw Ivy. I mean, he just draws beautiful people, I think, in general.
Right. I don't understand how she doesn't have any mugs, Oh, I found it.
Yay!
Coat closet, but so check it out.
Poor kid. Jesus. That's
right.
hilarious. I know it is when you're thirsty. Believe me, I understand. But no, I really enjoyed your Poison Ivy miniseries.
Thanks.
So definitely.
It's going to be so distracting here, but I'm like.
No, drink. Get comfortable, buddy. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
All right. Now we're good.
There you go. Atta girl.
It's like interactive, right?
It is a bit. So now you're doing Katana, and you did Ivy and stuff. Have you done other Bat Universe stories in between?
Oh, I think I should know this, right? No, you know what? No, it's all the Wonder Woman stuff. It's Wonder
okay.
Woman.
Yeah. I got to admit. I mean, I love the people that have been writing Wonder Woman in the last few years, as far as the comics go, and I really loved the first Patty Jenkins movie. I'm saying this. I don't expect you to have to say this. No. I got to admit, I bailed on Wonder Woman 84. It was just boring. Yeah, I mean, I'll get back to it and I'll finish it, but it just kind of bored me, and it bummed me out because it felt like a missed opportunity having Kristen Wiig as well in the movie and everything.
So I have to say, now that I've had a little taste, of non-comics, I totally get it, because when we may bitch and moan in comics, but we actually have a lot more control. So when stuff happens, it's very, at least for me, it's very rare that I have like studio intervention, Sometimes people say, oh, we can't do that because this character is being used, but they'll let me know,
Sure. No, that makes sense. And you're right about that. And no, I always think of, God, now I'm blanking on names. To Live and Die in LA, great director, French Connection. I can't think of his name, Chicago guy.
I think it was Wang Chung.
Yes, that's right. Fine soundtrack by Wang Chung in that movie. But that director said 1,000 things have to go right for a movie to work.
Yeah. So I have a lot of sympathy.
I hear you. No, and it's just surprising because of how good the first movie was. But what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Who knows? Who knows?
So I mean, and again, you're juggling work and kids.
Unfortunately, they're away, so that's why I'm at my friend's place. Her super nice place in New York City. I'm just kind of hanging.
That's cool. No, it looks beautiful. I mean, you kind of gave us a tour inadvertently, and no, it looks like a great place. Have you had time to watch the Snyder Cut yet, or no?
No, I have no time. I can't even watch the stuff I'm supposed to watch just to prep for other things, But maybe this weekend we'll see.
Okay.
I mean, I'll get there eventually. I have a stack of books, I have a stack of movies, I have a whole list of TV. But, the problem is the limiting factor is my eyeballs, right? And I'm supposed to be writing. If I'm writing, I can't watch. So
I get it, buddy. No, I completely hear you and everything. And really, I can justify, given what I do and everything, that I have to watch some of this stuff to be able to talk about it and stuff. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm slogging through the Snyder Cut. It's been a week and 8 days. And I mean, I like it better than the theatrical cut, but I have to say that it is still kind of slow. And
it's a chunk of your time,
Yeah, 4 hours. Although I'll tell you, I burned through The Irishman in 2 nights.
Okay.
So, in comparison, other 4-hour recent experiences. So I don't
Right.
know. And again, it's we're in lockdown, so it's not like I can go to my favorite coffee shop or the bars or wherever. So no, I get it, man. But yeah, I don't know. And conversely, I haven't watched today's episode, but Falcon and Winter Soldier, I really love the first episode.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
I got to get to that. I did manage to watch WandaVision, so I feel like I'm slightly au courant, you
No,
know.
absolutely, you absolutely are. That's hilarious. I always love Mel Brooks is a big fan of Okarant, so I love hearing Okarant when it comes up in conversations. Very rare. What'd you think of WandaVision?
Oh, I know there are people who did not like it. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I get the criticism. This is the problem again. Like I never really thought about it when I sort of got into comics and storytelling, is that now all of a sudden everything is work. You're looking at everything with a critical eye. So I get what people are complaining about, but just objectively, I enjoyed it. I very
I did
much
too.
enjoyed it, because here's the other thing too. And I think that the way we consume media, we're kind of messed up now, with this binging and all that stuff. If you sort of take it for what it is and you just you know, just let it unfold, knowing full well something's going to unfold. I think the payoff is there. But I do get it if people are kind of like, first of all, I mean, like you and I or whatever, in terms of the cultural references, I just really enjoy them because I understand them. I can totally understand if somebody's just like, I don't get it, and I don't get the references, and I just don't think it's funny, or whatever. But for me, the payoff was there. I enjoyed
No,
it.
I'm with you. No, absolutely. And yeah, you're right. And especially leaning into the old sitcoms like they did
Right.
formatically and everything. No, I thought it was a lot of fun. I really like the chemistry between Paul Bethany and Elizabeth Olsen. I think they're great in their roles. I, I total surprise. Honestly, Amy, no lie. Jimmy Woo has always been one of my favorite characters. My first reading of Jimmy Woo was that What If Marvel comic from it had to be the 70s again, showing my age. um but it was What If the Avengers were formed in the 1950s and
Hmm.
he's one of the members, and it's a great story. It's a fantastic. Don Glutt, I believe, wrote it, and then Jeff Parker in the early 2000s brought it back with Agents of Atlas and brought Jimmy
Yeah.
back and everything, but it was
Hmm.
essentially the same idea. So seeing wasn't it Randall Park that played Jimmy
Yeah,
Woo?
Randall Park. Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
If
he
they
was
don't do
great.
something, yeah, if they don't do something, it's a missed opportunity,
I think it's a given. Just like when what's his face showed up in Black Panther as the agent. The guy who played Watson in Sherlock, the British actor. I can't think Martin Freeman. We saw
Oh,
Martin
oh,
Freeman
yes,
for
yes,
like
yes. Okay, yes.
yeah, so we saw Martin Freeman for like 2 seconds in was it before Black Panther? I can't remember now, but I know we saw him in something for like 2 seconds, and then we saw him subsequently in another movie. And also just in WandaVision in general, for the people who are like, well, it didn't go anywhere, whatever. I'm like, they're planting seeds. And I really think much like the movies, there's gonna be a through line with the TV shows as well. I
Right.
mean, they already were doing that with the old Netflix shows,
Yeah.
where everything, I mean, with the exception of when they did the Defenders at the end, there was still like little elements that like had kind of permeated from Daredevil to Punisher to Iron Fist to Luke
Mhm.
Cage and Jessica Jones. So no, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but we are in this TikTok era where you need to like have some kind of payoff in like 20 seconds kind of thing. And
You are so right. I completely honestly and really, I mean, again, it kind of scares me being a little bit older than the TikTok generation because it does kind of mess with your attention span.
Mhm.
And it really, I mean, hey, I'm Uncle Buck. I don't have kids. I've got my nephews and nieces and stuff, and I'm very content being a happy single guy. But that said, I really do worry about children and their attention spans and how they're being messed with media.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of thinking, okay, do I sound like an old fart? Because I mean, when we were young, I'm sure it was the same concern. When you look at like not even just TV shows, but feature films are at a totally different pace, and even just reading novels are also at a different pace. So I want to just say it's evolution. and they'll be fine. It just changes our storytelling, So
That's true.
we'll see.
Gee, I want. You're right. I wonder if the pre-television generation had the same kind of fears. I'm sure they did.
They must have, I
Yeah,
mean, back
yeah.
in the day, the radio folks, when TV came along, they were like, okay, now the world is ending, and
Yeah, I understand. Do you? By the way, and you'll forgive me because again, this is like all nerd stuff. Is fair game. Do you ever listen to old time radio or any of that stuff?
oh, I did when I was writing Green Hornet, of course, so I
Oh my
like
god, I totally forgot about you writing
yeah,
Green
yeah, yeah.
Hornet. Good for you, man.
I feel like I like to say I'm a method writer. Like I need to get into that. So I did listen to a lot of the old radio shows. So yeah.
That's interesting. And God, I'll tell you. Did you watch the Van Williams and Bruce Lee show
Yeah, yeah.
too?
So that was a lot easier. I don't watch all of it, of course,
I understand. You didn't. You don't have to watch all of it. That's kind of
Yeah,
the
you
great thing
don't,
about it.
right? You don't. It's like similarly, I didn't have to, listen to all the radio shows, but there was a certain charm to listening to the radio show, so I didn't mind that.
I agree, and honestly, I love the character, and I was a very little kid watching the reruns, the Bruce Lee reruns, and also I remember drive-ins and movie like grindhouse movie theaters back growing up and stuff where they would have like a Bruce Lee marathon, and they'd show several Green Hornet episodes as well as the kung fu movies and everything. So it's fantastic. And growing up, and seriously, like again, I was a '70s kid, so all the Shaw Brothers stuff and all the great
Right.
Chinese films and everything, they were fantastic to watch. So yeah, I mean, I was kung fu fighting just like the song back in the 70s. So it was fun. It was fun. But no, that's really cool. Let's talk about the Green Hornet. I really do like. That's a great. It's a great opportunity to write something like that. I think a lot
I'm
of.
sorry. Hold on a second. There's a cat playing with like a bottle cap or something. It's just making me attracted. You can hear that, right?
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. No. Honestly, I love that. Or when a cat walks across the video, camera.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that to happen, but I'm
totally
like an intruder, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Oh
do not sweat it. It's totally fine. No, I've been saying this with friends that have the opportunity to write things like Conan and some of the other things, and the Green Hornet obviously having well at first Kato was, I believe, Japanese. Well, I don't know if that was true or not.
It went all over. That's the ridiculous part of it. It's like you could not figure out his ethnicity. It's just like wow, So.
Well, and it was wartime, so I'm sure they were sensitive at the time to.
So they did change it. I tried to address that in my run. Not that a lot of people even notice or remember, but No.
Well, but what I was going to say is I think it's a great opportunity to take what's great about those characters and story ideas and put them through the modern prism and make Kato more of an equal partner and really do,
Yeah, I mean, I did try to do that. Hopefully, people liked it.
No, and I mean hey, just like I love the Jason Lee movie about Bruce Lee, the dragon and stuff, the Bruce Lee story. It is kind of true. I mean, even as little kids were like, yeah, Van Williams is fine, but look at Kato. My God, man, look at the way the guy moves.
Who is the show really about? Come on.
They go a little farther in the Bruce Lee movie, but that said,
yeah,
again, you watch the shows and it's like, you can't help it. And oh my God, that crossover episode with Batman with Adam West and Burt Ward. And you see it, Burt Ward, like John L. Sullivan getting ready to sit down and fight Bruce Lee. It's like, no contest, Burt.
No contest, right? I feel like awesome. I know this is water. I kind of wish this was like scotch or something, but
I hear you, buddy. Well, I'm drinking water as well. Don't sweat.
Okay.
So
that's irresponsible.
That's cool. Have you done any Marvel stuff yet?
Oh yeah, I've done mostly short stories, and I just did the adaptation of Arrow and Swordmaster. So that I think the trades just came out for that. Greg Pak originally started it, and I did the second arc for each of those characters. And then now I should know what I wrote, right? I did like an Ant-Man story a while ago, and then I did a Emma Frost story and a Deadpool story. Like they're all short. So I'm like 10 pages is kind of my jam. I think people are starting to figure that out. I mean, of course I want to write more, but I do love 10 pages because I feel like that's the challenge, you know? Um,
Well, and also again, I really think I really think both companies are struggling with the price point of the single issue.
yeah,
And if there's a way to tell more stories effectively and do a 40 page, 10 page per story, kind of compilation or whatever, I think it's a smart move. And I
yeah.
think people might feel a little bit better buying it. I mean, I just, what are you going to do? So I kind of like that. Again, I think the transition to 10 page stories, I think, is going quite well as far as what we're getting. So
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I really only hope that more and more people buy comics because of basically all the crossover that's happening, and I do think that the quality really is just at an all-time high.
that's cool. So it was the arrow and the sword, is that, or swordsman? What was it?
Oh, it's Arrow, Aero. She's got the power of the wind,
Oh, okay.
and Swordmaster, and
Sword
he's
master.
got the power of the sword.
Got it. Okay. And obviously these are fantasy novels or whatever that.
Yeah. So the difference, though, is that these are characters that are in what do you call it? Collaboration with NetEase in China. So these are Chinese Marvel characters,
Oh,
that uh, that I was basically in charge of adapting these Chinese Marvel characters for U.S. audience.
I'm with you now. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh,
So
and I didn't know Greg was doing that too. That's awesome.
yeah. It's awesome. It's a I mean, that's a whole different skill set too. Doing an adaptation. I'm sure they thought of me because I'm Chinese,
Sure. Yeah.
Chinese American, and actually, this is where my son came in handy because his Chinese is better than mine because he studied in school. I was born here. I really don't. You know, I I I spent a couple years in Hong Kong just to try to improve, so I could read a little bit. But you
Cool.
know, yeah, he studied it in school. He knows way more than I do, so I had to have him. Hey, can you look at this? Because I don't know what's going on in this.
Can you? Well, oh, I was going to say, so you can read it and everything too. That's amazing.
No.
Oh,
It comes. So the
yeah.
Chinese
How did they?
version came out digitally, and so what they do is they translate to English and then they send it to us. And so I get that, but I'm like, I know enough Chinese to know that the translation's not right.
I've
So
noticed
that's
that.
when I
Yeah, I've noticed that with anime a
yeah.
lot of times. That yeah, there's just like
A lot of
there's
times it's not right. It's not right. There's a lot of nuances on both sides, and sometimes the translation is not correct. So I had to have my kid look at it, and he's like, "Yeah, it's not right. This is what they're really saying." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you for clearing that up, so I can fix that."
that's interesting. But they were Chinese comics. They weren't.
Yeah, they were released in China as part of this kind of collaboration with Marvel. So what they were doing was these characters crossing over with the Marvel universe. So you're
Oh
seeing
wow,
Doctor Strange, you're seeing Iron Man, but so there is that part which made it fun because I got to write a little bit of Iron Man
that's
each
great.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I really enjoyed that a lot. But yeah, it's just super tricky all around because you're getting the artwork and then you're like, ooh, that does not translate even in the action for U.S. audiences. There's a lot of stuff that Chinese audiences would get because there's kind of. I'll give you an example if this is interesting. I don't know.
Please, it's very
Because
interesting. Yes.
I was sort of taken aback because I didn't think it would be a problem. Then I got the art and I'm like, oh my god, I don't think American audiences are going to get this because there's a certain scene, right? Swordmaster is kind of like this young guy, this punk, and he inherits a sword that's it's a powerful sword, and he's supposed to be the swordmaster, but he doesn't know what to do with it, right? So he's struggling to figure out where his power is because his power is not coming out. And meanwhile this other girl is like she's the kick butt girl.
Oh, okay.
And there's a scene where she introduces this kid who's just kind of a complete doofus, right? I
Okay.
shouldn't say complete doofus. But there's people are reading this right now. He's obviously not a complete doofus, but he's still trying to figure things out. And they have serious doubts whether he is the sword master, right? Because it's like, how is he going to be the sword master? He doesn't know how to fight. He doesn't know how to do anything. And so she introduces this kid to her grandmother, who's kind of like the badass lady who head of the clan. And what she does in this scene, which I said, I don't think it translates well, is she looks at him and then she kind of does the respectful bow. She's like, it doesn't matter if you have doubts. He is the sword master, and we therefore have to pay the respects. And I'm like, oh, great. Let's see. I got to completely reword it, because everyone knows that gesture is really significant. But I don't think American audiences realize how significant it is for her as an elder to bow to this kid like that.
Really interesting. No, 100%. Good
right?
Lord.
So,
Yeah.
So they didn't explain it in the Chinese version because they don't have to explain it. But I felt like I needed to explain it. So
I get it. No, and honestly, that is really interesting. And even because initially I thought, oh, okay, this must be some sort of fantasy novelization or comic adaptation of fantasy novels, the way they've done with Stephen King stuff and even the
well,
Wizard
it
of
is
Oz
a little
stuff.
bit, because these are well known. Well, in this in the Swordmaster case, there is an underlying legend that people know, which I actually didn't know, but
So is that different from the films of the Swordmaster and stuff? Is it part of that?
No, I think it's different. I think it's different.
Okay. Again, yeah, I can help you out with Greek mythology being Greek, but that's as far as I can
Right.
go.
Yeah, I really did have to learn a lot of stuff on the fly.
That's cool though. So how long have you been doing that?
Oh, so that was during COVID, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is it done, or are you still doing it?
Oh, I think it's done. I mean, they may continue it. They haven't told me. I hope they continue it, because I think it was just getting going. Both Arrow and Swordmaster. And I enjoy. Well, so first of all, it's very rare I get to write an Asian female superhero like that. And of course they didn't know this, right? Because when they asked me to take over from Greg, so Arrow is this. Sort of super modern Chinese woman in Shanghai, where she's got the power of air, wind, which is very powerful, right? But she's also kind of like the superstar architect by day.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she has her own firm and everything. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool that you guys thought of me, because I studied architecture. I was supposed to be an architect, so that you, right? And they were like, oh, we had no idea. All right, well, you got a bonus.
Cool. That's amazing. So, I'm curious because, again, and I hope this isn't, I don't mean any offense by this, but I'm curious, being Chinese, and also because you mentioned Shanghai, you mentioned Hong Kong, those are such amazing for, us on this side of the world and stuff. They're amazing locales. And as I was saying earlier about Green Hornet, I really think there's an opportunity to tell modern stories with the backdrops and even the politics of
I actually did that with Green Hornet. I took him to Hong Kong.
There you go. Okay, cool. So that's great, and it's good to hear that.
Why not?
Because really, again, being Greek, unfortunately, we're kind of like the knucklehead country in the European Union. Where, what do you mean we can't retire when we're 55? What the hell are you to tell us?
I lost your voice. I lost your voice for some reason.
Oh,
what happened? I think it's
these
things.
I am talking. I think I'm heard. Can you hear me now?
What happened?
Can you unplug? Can you
unplug and then replug in?
I'm going to turn these off.
How about now?
Same? Still? Can't hear me? Now I can't hear you. Now I can't hear you. Hold on. Are you muted? Oh, she is muted. 1 second. She's muted. Okay, now you're unmuted.
Automatically muted. I'm sorry. I think these things ran out of juice.
Oh, okay.
Probably if I was like a millennial, I would remember to charge them up or something.
Believe me, I understand. And like I said, I'm afraid to buy those and then have them fall out of my ears, so I never use the ones that came with my iPhone. But you can hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. I don't know how much you got, but I was saying that, because being Greek, it's funny. I would like to tell more Greek stories about the Cold War period when the Marshall Plan was in effect, and Greece and Turkey were kind of the front line of the Cold War. And I think that's interesting to do a modern story right now. I was saying, like, Greece is kind of like the butt of the European Union,
Right.
where, like, literally, I'm embarrassed, but, like, people were retiring at 55 in Greece before joining the European Union. And
Oh,
it's like, and they're like, how dare you tell us we can't, retire? And it's like, this is why your economy is a little messed up. Okay. It's like, you gotta make some choices here. So anyway, but no, like I said, I do think that modern China certainly provides a lot of opportunities to tell stories. And I was wondering if you were interested in doing that. And like you said, you did it with Green Hornet. Would you want to do it further with any creator owned or anything like that?
actually, I was doing something for another company, and I cannot talk about. That was an NDA. But it is a different market. If you're talking about me writing, they have their own talent. You know? Yeah. So it's not that I would be opposed to that at all, but it's very different. It's a different sensibility.
No, I understand. And again, I mean this as a Chinese American, just like me being a Greek American. And what parts of my origin country would I want to explore from a storytelling standpoint?
You know what? I do have something that I've been working on, but this would be for the U.S. market.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's what that's what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it is something I'm working on, and again, now I can't tell you no more about.
No, it's all good. Honestly, it's truly. I don't want to mess up anybody's marketing.
No. But I have deliberately avoided like sort of, autobiographical because I feel like as a Chinese American woman, as an Asian American woman, I feel like we get pigeonholed, right? It's like, I think if I was very receptive early on, then I'd be doing the Asian character just because, and then where do I go from there? So totally. I feel like I've done Kiss, I've done Green Hornet, I've done a lot that now I can circle back and say, okay, I'm ready to do Asian characters. So I'm not pigeonholed,
Totally understand and agree. And I think that's great. And no, I mean, that's why I'm glad DC gave Chris Priest the opportunity to do Deathstroke. As opposed to just, hey, let's do another, let's do a black character. And it's like, well, how about, I don't write a black character for a change.
Right.
No, I'm with you. Absolutely. I think that's terrific.
Anyone who deserves that's Christopher Priest, right? I mean, he's just amazing.
What a writer! Who are your writer heroes and the like? And I know, who do you like art wise, if you don't mind me asking?
All right, I'm not going to say anything art wise because then I feel like I'll get myself in trouble. Because honestly, I really love everybody. Because I took one art class and I'm like, okay, all credit to anyone who can tell a decent story. I don't care. So writing wise, I will say. Very early on when I was just starting, I read a lot of Mike Mignola because I love that minimalism, just the storytelling and the minimalism is so pure. I was like, how does he do that? So I was really trying to dissect everything. And I had a wonderful opportunity to actually meet him and his wife at Fan Expo. And I kind of was apologetic because I was just starting off. I barely wrote anything, but I was like, I'm just starting to dive into his stuff. And a week later, they sent me the entire run of Hellboy, like a big box show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my God, because I said, it's really important. I really, really, so I'm inspired on a number of levels, right? Just trying to get to that level of craft of storytelling, but just because that was a super awesome thing to do for somebody they didn't even know,
That's very sweet. That's really, and I loved earlier when you described writing comics as haiku, because it's the brevity. It's really condensing your writing and letting the art tell the story as much as the words.
Right. It's letting the art tell the story. This is what I think is just so freaking amazing about comics, is that if you figure it out, it's super hard to make it look so effortless.
Totally hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. Absolutely. So again, people should watch DOTA, Dragon's Blood, Book 1. It's on Netflix. It debuted yesterday. There's 8 episodes, and Amy had a hand in that, which is really cool. And it sounds like we might be getting more animation from Amy in the future. Maybe. That's me saying that.
Don't forget Red Sonja, 1982.
Tell me about Red Sonja 1982.
They just announced it, so we can talk about it, sort of. It's a one shot. It's 30 pages. I'm doing it with, I think this is his first big thing, Eric Blake. So
Okay.
So Eric Blake has been using the sports analogy, knocking it out of the park. I'm almost like, maybe you should dial back because you're going to burn yourself out. Like the stuff he's sending in, I'm like, okay, we're hooked on the first 5 pages. You can sort of like, you still got 25 pages to go.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's that good. And that's
So
an example where I'm like, okay, you know what? I got the easy job now.
So is she time traveling, or is this a descendant?
Yes. So yeah, it's 1982. But there's a reason I have it worked out. I don't want to be people like, oh, she's just time traveling because she's time traveling, right? Yeah. So I have it worked out, and now I feel like I'm gonna. So 1982 is a good year, right? I mean, Tron, you got like ET, you got like all sorts of stuff. Okay.
Go on.
You're nodding.
Well, you're making me laugh because I was in high school in 1982. So
yeah. So you remember that year? And I'm like,
fuck yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Vividly, thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I'm trying to, like, for anyone who picks it up, I want there to be the payoff, okay, that you're going to pick it up. You're going to feel really good about this story. And because I can't really talk about it because
I don't want you to spoil. Absolutely not. No.
We went through a couple things going on, and we settled on 1982. But just imagine, I'm trying to throw in a little Terminator. I'm trying to throw a little Conan in there. I mean, and it's all going to come together. At least Eric thought it was awesome. So
was the inspiration for the story that What If Conan story where he's in the modern world?
That was all. So this is kind of just a sort of, I don't want to say it's an epilogue of my Red Sonja run, but that Conan story absolutely had some impact in the earlier run, because I read that and I was kind of like, ooh, right. It's Conan is one thing, but if it were Red Sonja, she's going to be different. Right?
Of course, absolutely.
That's basically my run. After reading that, and also reading the the team up, 78, 79 team up with Spider-Man.
Oh yes, of course. Yes, those great issues. Yes, indeed.
So those 2 issues kind of
sure
led to the interpretation of my run was really after reading that, I'm like, okay, this is where I think we can go. And so this one shot is kind of okay, so where do we go even further, I guess, That's
great. No, that's really, really cool. Oh, that's really exciting. When does that come out?
So that, I think it's coming out in June.
I was going to say, that was going to be my guess. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's June. It was just announced, and yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I certainly had fun writing it.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to promote?
Oh, I don't know. I
feel like you can promote, obviously, too.
That I can promote. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. This is the problem. It's just like I must be like grinding it out. But once I finish, it's got to go to the artist, and then I have to sort of forget about it because now I got to move to the next thing.
Of course. No, I understand.
What else I feel bad because I know there's stuff I can. I mean, obviously, Sensational Wonder Woman is out right now.
Yes, and and talk about your run on Sensational Wonder Woman.
Sure. So yeah, that was so much fun. And it's gotten. I have to say, I don't really look at reviews. What I do is I go look on Comixology, and I'm looking at the ratings.
At the ratings, okay. Because I never pay attention if they leave comments at Comixology or not.
Everyone can have their opinion, but the ratings I think are kind of pure because someone paid money for it and they're leaving a rating. So I take that seriously.
Sure.
And so if those stars are good, then I feel good.
That's outstanding. Are you done with your run, or are you coming back to it?
No. It was just the 20 pages. It was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 9 and 10. Basically, similarly, they were giving everyone like a little bit, and so I got 20 pages, and I feel good because I feel like I told a story I wanted to tell.
Those digital first comics are fantastic, and again, it's a great reinvention of, what you can do with fewer pages and not have to do a 6-issue story or a 5-issue story to make an impact. So no, I think those are terrific, and I've enjoyed reading those. So that's great to hear. So we got Sensational. We've got DOTA, Dragon's Blood, book 1 on Netflix. You've got the Asian celebration. When's that coming out?
That should be in May, sometime.
That'll be in May.
Yeah.
So an 80-page giant focusing on DC's great Asian characters.
With a cover by Jim Lee, of course.
Amazing. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, man. No, writing and art-wise and stuff, yeah, you really can't go wrong. I mean, thankfully, there's wonderful creators right now that are doing comics and happen to be Asian. And I think that's wonderful. And I'm glad, honestly, that's terrific that they're doing this. This is especially right now.
Especially now. They came out with it before. I mean, we all know stuff has been happening, but not to the level that, it's kind of, I don't want to even just say sad. Obviously, I'm angry about it too. So.
No, I understand. And truly, Amy, you and I set this up a few weeks ago, I think, before things were as front page headlines as they've gotten in the last couple of weeks. So I do appreciate you doing that. I hope no one takes my having Amy on as any sort of pandering. I am certainly against the obvious of this violence of any kind, especially what's happening with various people of color. It's disgusting. It's wrong. And, it's got to stop. It absolutely has to stop. And it's completely unnecessary. And it's fucking wrong,
Yeah, so. I really hope that anyone sees stuff, they call it out, because
Amen.
Enough. It's like the stupid jokes, the microaggressions, the stupid crap, this slap the Asian thing that's going on. Like, what the heck is that?
It's wrong, and seriously, it's only going to beget more violence. And I hope some people crack back if they do get. I mean, my God, what kind of bullshit is that? It's just. Again, Amy, I mean, I was born in '64. I don't remember the late '60s as well as I do the '70s, but you really hope that we were past some of this bullshit.
Right.
Sad to see that we're not.
Evolved as a human race, hopefully. I don't know, it's like.
I do, yeah. No, it is. But the thankful thing is, we can fight back. We all can fight back.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I have hope. I mean, this is why we do these things. This is why we write comics. This is why we do stories. This is why I love writing Wonder Woman, because it's not about, cynical Wonder Woman. It's like there has to be some hope for humanity. So.
Completely agree. Absolutely. Well, continued success, Amy. Seriously. We didn't even talk about Betty and Veronica and
oh yeah, we could. I would love to talk more about that stuff, but yeah.
But I've enjoyed what I've read, and really, I congratulations on being part of DOTA and Dragon's Blood and everything.
Thank you.
A lot of fun, and looking forward to more, hopefully, live action and animation along with our comics from Amy too.
If that happens, that'd be awesome.
That's great. Well, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. Join me again on Monday. Well, first of all, Sunday afternoon. I don't know if you ever watched The Outer Limits, Amy.
Oh, sure.
Okay, well, the original show.
How old do you think I am?
No. Well, but it's not for every. It's funny because it's not as obvious as the Twilight Zone. Yeah. And I like the '90s version, but like the old '60s version. Gabe Hardman and I have been rewatching the show and doing a podcast. And Sunday we're going to talk to Joseph Stefano's son, and Stefano co-created Outer Limits, and of course wrote Psycho for Hitchcock and stuff. An amazing writer, and he and this other collaborator have collected all of Stefano's unproduced Outer Limits scripts, and they've created a book. So we're going to talk to him on Sunday afternoon live for our. We normally do the Outer Limits show on Thursday nights live.
I will definitely be watching that. That's
thank you. That's cool. Great. And then on Monday, I'm talking to Alex Segura.
Oh, Alex! Yeah,
absolutely, about his new Kickstarter for The Dusk.
Very good.
So very cool. So lots of cool stuff coming up on Word Balloon Live. And thank you very much for watching. And Amy, thank you very much for guesting.
Oh, thank you so much. This was fun. This was so fun.
And everybody stay